An honor and a privilege. Episode 21. What we gonna talk about today? Well, first off, I always say I hope everybody's giving themselves grace. I hope you giving yourself time to decompress. I hope y'all are prioritizing yourselves, giving yourselves love, because that's really key. It's key that we are all loving on ourselves right now. It is key that we giving ourselves real deal grace. We praying over ourselves. We journaling for ourselves. We journaling to ourselves. We are making peace with our traumas. We are becoming good people, better individuals. We should be striving to become better individuals. I'm going to say that, and I'm going to say that because that is ultimately what having a divine mind is. Being in alignment. Sometimes I think I'm going off task, but I think right now, all that I just said, but also we need to be working together. We need to be coming together right now because with the way things are looking, it has come to a point where we need to rely on each other. I understand that there are things that we can't control everything, but we can control how we come together. And we need to come together right now. If you have a platform, I would highly advise that you start to, like, y'all got to really be more people centered, life centered. I can't tell anybody to do with their platforms, but I feel like if you are intentionally trying to use yours, you need to be advocating for what's going on. You need to advocate for your people, and you need to advocate for the things that you would like to see done, or the things that, like, in so many words, build community around you. Love on people around you. Learn how to go to people, and we just need to build more community. Because I'm not one of those people that's gonna try to have everybody in an uproar or like worried about everything. I really believe in keeping yourself grounded and all the things. Where am I going with this? We all doing our best. So just remember that we're all doing our absolute best. And even if it's not your best, what is that anyway? Show up in the world. Show up for yourself first. Did I lose my glasses? Show up for yourself first. You need to be showing up for yourself. You need to be loving on yourself. Y'all need to be giving love. It's the evil world we live in. Don't make it no darker. Hmm. I talked about acceptance in the last episode, and I talked about forgiveness and how forgiveness has nothing to do with the assailant. Everything can be forgiven in some capacity, but that just takes time, and that takes giving yourself grace, but also giving people grace. But I think forgiveness is key. I think the way that we speak to ourselves is important, but I also think that we have to know how to speak to ourselves. You have to know what questions to ask. We have to be able to look at ourselves in the mirror. How we speak to ourselves determines everything. It determines your belief. It determines your reality. It determines what you accept. Um, but it is how we speak to ourselves and the questions we ask ourselves that I think make differences. And when I say the questions we ask ourselves, because in order to grow, you have to be able to ask yourself, what is it that you want to grow out of, or what do you want to grow into? Growth is a funny thing. Alignment is a hilarious thing. But in order to ascend, we have to be able to go internal. And to go internal, you have to be able to sit in the dark. And I don't mean turn the light off. Turn the light off, but you got to be able to sit in the darkness. You got to be able to sit in that. You have to be able to sit in whatever it is, and we have to get to a place of after we have these conversations with ourselves and we sit within whatever the conversation or the answer was, you asking yourself what it is. Like, you trying to grow and expand mentally, you're trying to grow into a new place in relationship dynamics. Like, we trying to expand, but we not asking ourselves the necessary questions. We jumping into relationships and are not asking the pertinent necessary questions. This is why relationships are glamorized. However, people don't be asking necessary questions. People don't be asking, I feel like, it's like, hmm, I think you have to be able to check in with yourself. Um, hmm, maybe we're off topic a bit. But I talk about acceptance and I talk about letting go. Maybe life sometimes is just about being in a flow state. A flow. People talk about flow state. Just being in flow. Because I talk about um a lot of what I talk about I work on. But I think a big hindrance for people is not understanding where they are, but also not understanding to just float. Life is always gonna be happening. But I think the more time we spend going with the flow of life rather than going against the current, the more peaceful and productive it will be. You can't do nothing successful by worrying about it or kicking against whatever it is that's going on. That's so steep, just like waves. You can get lost, like, but that's the thing. Life is it's just a series of events. And there's no way to control or account for everything. You can't remember everything. You can't. But that's just the thing. It's not meant, I think, for us to stay in one place. And I think the better we are at releasing control and learning to just flow with whatever it is. I think it was Peter, somebody in the Bible said, I've learned that whatever state I'm in to a base and a bound. Like, and I think for me, that's just a matter of, okay, God, I don't understand what you're doing right now. Right? I don't get it. It's not clicking for me. However, you talking to a God who orders steps with divine intention. Everything happens in a certain order. Everything goes in a certain order. Grass does not struggle to grow. It grows. Flowers do not struggle to bloom. They bloom. Ideas don't struggle to, they just become. And I think we have to get into the state, we have to allow ourselves to just be. Not like, I think if you don't learn to flow with life, it'll trample you. You can get really lost. You can get really lost emotionally. And then you start to derail your own process. The more fixated I feel like you're focused on an expected end, the more fixated you are on like really, 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 really trying to like manifest. Because it's not always write it down, write it down. Yeah, that can bring it forth. But the universe is not going to bring you something before your time. The universe does not. The universe is going to conspire to bring everything into true alignment when it is deemed necessary. You cannot flow with life if you are trying to cut through and go against the grain of what life has decided. There's divinity everywhere. You have divinity around you, within you, but you have to learn how to stay locked in on, I feel like you gotta just allow life to flow, bro. I can't tell you how many things that I've tried to manifest and I had to still wait. It's still an element of like, okay, if this is what you want, these are the steps that are going to have to be taken in order for you to achieve this, have this, go here. Nothing can happen spontaneously. Even if it is something that happens, it had to come from somewhere. It didn't just happen. Nothing just happens like that. Even if something seemingly happens, it happened through a series of steps, certain things that led up to that. I think in order for us to get better and to really be happier, it's just learning to go with whatever flow. Sometimes that's not even showing up. Sometimes the flow of life will demand that you rest. Sometimes the flow of life will demand that you know what I'm saying, expand your capacity. But whatever that is, we have to ask ourselves, we got to be able to ask ourselves the right questions. We got to be able to understand where we are. And ultimately, you know, it don't always feel good to wait. I don't even like waiting in the line to get my food. I used to work in fast food, and the timer at a drive-through is usually like a minute and a half, 2 minutes. And if I'm asking for hot fries and they are hot or they lukewarm and I had to wait 5 minutes, or they hot but I had to wait, it's always like, it's just kind of annoying. It's annoying to have to wait when you want something on demand. You don't even like your computer to buffer. My God, can you imagine if we still live with the AOL dial-up with the big back computer screens? It's something about waiting. It pulls something out of you, even if it's just a speck of patience. But a lot of times, the stuff that we want, that we waiting for, especially we get older, it's like, bro, come on now. Come on now. But that's just the gag. That's the thing. It never happens when you think it's supposed to happen. Because even when you think it's supposed to happen, that came from steps. And it even still, it don't always be the outcome you want. It don't always happen when you want it to happen. But that's cool. Because it's like the law of attraction. If you deem something important and you say this is what you want and you put enough conviction on it, it's going to happen instantaneously. But you took what you needed to do stepwise to get there. But it's like, sometimes I feel like I get off topic a bit. It's this resistance. It's a level of resistance right now. Everywhere. It's everywhere. And I don't know where to fully, you know, but you can do something for you, with you, in your own life. And that is sometimes to just, whether it's grief, whether it's processing, it's like, dang, bro, life comes in steps. God orders your steps, I believe. And life works out the way it should, but it's just sometimes take for you to just relax, not to shut down, not to retreat, but sometimes just be. Just be. Just let it be. Just let it cook. Woo! Like, let it cook. I'm funny. Hi. Okay. I'm funny. Oh God. Huh. Yeah, but for real, like, big Big go come through fine. Hey, okay, too much cake I buy. Yeah, let life go. Let life and love flow. Because ultimately, you're going to end up where you're going to end up. The universe is always going to co-conspire so that you achieve and that you have whatever is truly for you. But the universe might also say not yet. It might say now. It might say later. It may say 6 months. It may be 3 months. But you have to be able to trust the timing of your life. It's like when you can trust something positive, something promising, you can be happy about that and it happens the way. But unfortunately, it is a lot of times where it just seemed like it just don't make sense and it seemed like it's never going to be. But that's the thing about law of attraction. You have to believe it as if it's true. It is delusional to some, but it is really a timeline. It's a matter of a timeline. And the stronger you can believe and the more conviction you can have for whatever it is, it manifests. But it's what we believe, it's our belief, it's what we talk about. It's our ability to flow. You can flow with the good, you gotta be able to. I think if you can flow with the good, I ain't gonna say you can flow with the bad, but I am gonna say that you can develop a certain type of, is it tenacity? Is it grit? Is it, you have to develop those internal tools. Them tools. You have divinity, but you have to be able to tap into it, my nigga. You have divinity. You have light in you. You live in a universe where there are stars on Mars. Do you understand what I'm saying? You have choices, you have options, you have all the space, time, and opportunity. But it's certain things that we're going to have to get to the root of in order to manifest, in order to become, in order to achieve, to ascribe, to be someone. But to make no changes is lunacy. I think we have to be the change we want. I think we have to seek to be in more community. But I think we also have to learn to flow. Go and flow. Processing. All the things. And I think once you can, once you can acknowledge certain things, you can have those tough conversations with yourself. You can have tough conversations with others. You can have better relationships with the people around you once you work on the finite details of your own relationship. When you get to the meticulous particulars of what's going on, why do you act like that? Where does this come from? It did not start with you per se. A lot of things don't start with you, but everything comes back and down to you. And if you can learn to have better relationships with you in whatever areas, better relationship with you means better relationships with others. In order to function as a society, we need to improve upon the relationships we have with ourselves, that we have with others. You may not be able to buck the system, but you can just work on yourself and you can work on being a better interconnected person and a part of the society, because you are a part of the society. And what you do and how you act and how others act and how others show up, we all play a very intricate, very vast, we all play a role in this vast universe, in a galaxy upon galaxies, in this space-time continuum. We all need to be more aware. We all need to be looking within ourselves for the answers. We need to be giving ourselves grace, but we need to be doing everything that we can. I feel like that we can to just make the most of our time. We need to be striving to be better people. We need to be striving to be better folks. But working on yourself is always going to lead to better outside of yourself. And the relationships, I mean, you can't really live and function without relationships. Girl code, marriage, dating, friendships, cousins, relationships are, I mean, you need them. And I think you just have to improve. Working yourself as an individual, it will help you to better show up in society and in the world at large. Because you cannot possibly expect the world to transmute into something magnificent, and something wonderful if you don't play. You play a role, bro. You play a role. You play a part, and your part is often much bigger than you think. The ripples of the effects of our decisions are so vast and so huge. And the thing that happens when you begin to change yourself and you begin to go internal, guess what happens? Your energy begins to expand, and the energy around you is affected, and you affect the energy of others. This is why it is so important for us to raise our minds and our frequencies, because the only way for change is to change our minds and to write things down and to affirm what we know and to seek good and to be better people. To have change, we must truly be changes. We have to be what we want to see. It is delusional and until it becomes reality. And if we can start to train our minds to think different, to speak different, to believe different, to be different, to show up different, then we start to show up different in the world, and the world around us is changed. Your world, which is a part of everyone's world, our world, like, but as an individual, we have to work on ourselves and we have to work on these things so that we can see some semblance of change, some type of change. That's human decency. That's like humanity. So yeah, it's been episode 22. 222. Thank y'all for being here. So grateful, so happy, so inspired, so privileged. Such an honor. I'm so grateful. I am so full. I am so rich. Ah. Thank y'all for being here. Episode 22. Episode 22. Thank y'all. Till next time.